The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
The story goes like this. There was a girl in Vienna, a young girl in Vienna, Austria, before the war, and a Jewish girl. She went to Beis Yaakov, and she had the most amazing voice. She had like a 1 in a million voice. Had a voice that came along once in a generation. Like a tremendous voice, and she had a certain star quality to her, and she knew how to dance, and she, of course, was the head of all the Beis Yaakov of Vienna's productions, and, whenever they had a skit, or a musical, or a dance, whatever it was, she was always the front and center star. And her reputation preceded her, not only in the Jewish community, but even some Goyim started hearing about this great talent, and there was a talent scout, a European non-Jewish woman who was a talent scout. And she went to she heard about this girl. She's always on the lookout for like new talent to perform in the great opera houses in Vienna and beyond, and sing and dance. They always look for the next, the next superstar. So she went to one of these productions. She saw this girl, and she approaches her after the concert and says, "I've never seen such celebrity as you. I never saw such talent and such you have everything. You have the appearance, and you have the dance and the voice and the persona, and everything is amazing. And I'm going to make you famous, not just in these Jewish circles. I'm going to bring you, and I'm going to make you a superstar. You're going to be the toast of Europe. And in every venue in Berlin and in Moscow and in London and in Paris, you're going to be it. Everyone's going to know your name. You're going to be world famous. Your name is going to be on the marquee in big letters and lights." And, we'd like to think that every Beis Yaakov girl would right away say, "Nah, it's not interesting to me." This girl, it was very interesting to. She wanted, not that she necessarily wanted to be Miskaya, but she felt she has this talent, and she wants to become famous, and maybe she'll make a lot of money, and she'll be able to give her family some support from that. It sounded like something that she really, really, really wanted to do. And she says, "Give me a week or two to think about it." And the agent gave her business card, and they agreed to revisit it in a few weeks. She comes home. She tells her parents about it, and her parents obviously did not share her excitement. Her parents are very frum people, and this was like a nightmare for them. They liked it when their daughter had talent and was using it in the local Beis Yaakov production, but this is ridiculous to go kol isha and to be out there and kol kvud bas melech panim. This is like the worst the worst situation that they could have envisioned. So they said, "Please, this is not for you. Lo zu haderech. Rethink this. This is not, we as your parents." They were smart enough to say, not to refuse it. They wanted to make it like it was her decision. They took her to the local Rav, and the Rav tried to dissuade her, but it was to no effect. And the Rav said, "Listen, obviously I'm not having an influence on you, but there's a great Hasidic Rebbe that's about to come into town this week. His name is the Kapizhnitzer Rebbe. And his son was one of the Gedolei Adar. He was very close to Baron Kotler, and he was, on the dais of Gedolei Yisrael after the war in America. But this Kapizhnitzer Rebbe's father was a great leader in Europe, and he was a very big pikeach, and he was coming to Vienna to visit. Says, "Let's go to him and see what he says." So she agreed. This girl agreed, and when the Kapizhnitzer Rebbe came to Vienna, her parents brought her to him, and he heard her out. He didn't say, shake it, it's terrible, chayrim. No, he said, "I understand what you're saying. I get it. I understand the taiva that you have. You have a voice. You have a talent that you want to share with the world. I understand it. And I can't physically stop you, obviously, from doing your dream. But I will tell you this. This is a very big decision that you have to make. If you make the decision in the wrong way, then you know what the future is. I don't have to paint that for you. You know exactly what's going to happen. And if you make the right decision, then I will personally guarantee that you will have a son. You will get married to somebody, you will have a son, and this son will be a Gadol Hadar and will illuminate the world. Whatever the lights that you would have had in a bad way, this person that you have as a son will illuminate the world, will be world famous, but in a positive way, in a terrific way." She thought about that, and now she heard what she liked to hear. It wasn't just you're taking something away from me, but you're giving me something in return. And that she was able to accept. And so she said, okay, I'm going to turn down this offer, but I expect that what you promised me is going to happen. Rebbe says, yeah, I give you my haftacha. Now, this story was written down in a pincus, in a journal, like a record book that every kehillah in Europe always used to keep their own records, and anything of interest, any important events that happened in the community was recorded in these books. And this event was recorded in the book, but there was no, the names of the people were there, but it never said like what happened. Like, you want to hear the end of the story. Like, did it come true? Did the Rebbe's promise come true or not? So a very big Rav saw this in recent years, and he went and he did some research into who these people were. And he figured out, based on a lot of the biographical information that he had to work with, that this woman got married. This girl grew up, she got married, and she had a child. The child went to one of the most famous yeshivas in the world, Rameir Shapiro's yeshiva, Yeshivas Chachmei Lublin. He was a Gaon Olam, mamish, a brilliant, brilliant man. And he eventually moved to Bnei Brak after the war, and he became the Paisek Hadar. And his name was Shmuel Wosner. Shmuel Wosner was the Shevet Levi. We have a whole bookshelf in yeshiva downstairs, the Shevet Levi. It takes up, came out a whole, it's much like, 15 volumes of intricate Shilas Teshuvos on every topic known to Klal Yisrael. He was like the Paisek Hadar, him and Rabbi Yashiv and Rosh Zalman. They were all on the same, seat, the same row of Gdele Paisek Hadar. And that was the research. That's where his research took him. And this Rav went to Shmuel Wosner and asked him, this is how the story goes. Again, I don't know if the story is 1,000% accurate, because but this is the way I read it, this is the way it's told, that they asked Shmuel Wosner, do you know the story? He says, no. He said, I don't know the story. He says, but I will tell you that I remember my mother did have a beautiful voice, and she had a certain charisma that was very unique. And also, I'll tell you something else that I remember, and that is that whenever I was like a little late to wake up for davening, or to go to the Beis Medrash in the morning or at night for night seder, whatever it was, my mother would like wake me up, like very, with all of her Ramache Varmich Hagidim. And she says, get up and go to yeshiva, go to Beis Medrash. You have no idea what I gave up for you. And because of that decision that she made, she had the Gadol Hadar. Decisions are very, very important, and they're very, very consequential. And a lot of times we think we have wiggle room with decisions. I can make a bad decision, and I'll be able, even if it's not so good today, but I'll make up for it tomorrow. And that's not a true statement. Like we're trying to prove today from Megillas Rus, the decisions that we make that are good are tremendous. We don't even understand how good they are and how important they are, and will determine the future of us and our descendants for all times. And the bad decisions that we make in life are much worse than we can ever fathom also.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org